$50 gift card to everyone who texts WOW to 85850. That's WOW to 85850.
The Experience Pros Radio Show, home of the original Fan Braggin' Fridays. Take just 20 seconds to become a business revolutionary by sharing a fan bragging story of great customer service by using the hashtag FanBrag or calling the Fan Braggin' hotline at 855-FAN-BRAG, FANBRAG. Now back to Angel and Eric, the Experience Pros.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Experience Pros Radio Show. Thank you for tuning in. This is the home of positive business talk. We got a positive guy here in the studio.
We absolutely do. Our celebrity of the day is Robert Johnson. He's been practicing therapy and counseling for over 10 years. He's certified nationally as a substance abuse professional, a master addiction counselor by the National Board of Certified Counselors, and by the state of Colorado's Department of Regulatory Agencies as a licensed addiction counselor. He's here today to talk about sober living. We're calling this Sober Living with Robert Johnson. You can find him online at highlandsranchcounselor.com. Robert, welcome to Experience Pros.
Thanks for having me, guys.
It is very nice to have you, Robert. Now, where are we going today? You want to address the issues facing people who may have a substance abuse problem.
Definitely. So the majority of my phone calls are people either looking for treatment, recently came out of treatment, and want to continue that path of recovery.
All right.
Okay, so they want to continue that path of recovery, and they're pretty much on their own to try and figure it out if they don't call somebody for help. Yes?
Yes, and that usually is why they've either been through treatment or are making that initial phone call. They've tried it and it didn't work.
Yeah.
All right. So, Robert, you say that there are three different areas that the person who is in recovery really needs to pay attention to. Can you kind of cover those for us?
Well, definitely the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, and then the
social side, right?
The social side, being able to connect with positive pro-social folks, whether that be through a 12-step program, a church, family.
Okay, so let's start with taking care of the physical self, right? What is involved? And from you as a counselor, you're not a nutritionist, right?
Not at all.
But you are a counselor. What does that constitute, taking care of the physical self?
Well, eating healthy, eating 3 meals a day, talking with their doctor and figuring out what their past has looked like, what they've maybe struggled with, if they have any eating disorder.
Do they sometimes go hand in hand? I mean, I'm thinking if you have an addictive personality, or you have been maybe not personality, it's not the right word, but you've had an addiction to a substance, you probably also eat really cruddy food. I'm just guessing.
Donuts.
Right. Chicken wings.
Right. You're welcome.
He's like, no, I've got chicken wings on the brain.
That is not necessarily the case, but usually if they've been substance dependent for some while, their diet is pretty horrible.
All right. What's your take on exercise? Is it necessary, or can we just bypass that?
Exercise is food for the brain. It releases endorphins. It releases stress. Of course, you want to talk with your doctor and make sure that you can
exercise,
do what you want to do. And it's not running a marathon. It's not doing a triathlon. It's riding the bike around the trails. It's
maybe just getting out for a walk.
That's right.
Yeah. Now, Eric keeps thinking one of these days somebody's going to come in and says, "No, Eric, you don't have to exercise."
You're right, me.
Right, but it's food for the brain. I've actually heard that if you have depression tendencies, that exercise can actually counteract.
It can reverse it.
Yeah,
you bet.
Really. That's okay. So
that
you're the expert.
Endorphin dump of just 20 minutes, 20 minutes of rigorous exercise, whether that be walking around the lake or whatever, getting that heart rate up, it releases it. It can reverse that.
All right. So just as soon as I've done eating and then exercising, I just want to go to sleep.
There you go.
What's your recommendation?
Well, at least 8 hours per night. Not 6, not 4. 8 would be
It's a great
optimal.
idea. Yeah.
It's a goal.
Why is that so important? Because I think so often we're up late at night. It's hard to fall asleep. And, I can power through.
Well, it affects your temperament. If you look at your past week and you've got 4 hours of sleep, maybe you're a little short with others. Maybe you're scatterbrained at work and not able to focus.
Okay. All right. Let's move into the emotional and spiritual side of things. Where do we go there? What would you advise somebody who has gone through a recovery program, but they want to maintain their sobriety?
Well, I like to look at the balance and what their life looks like, whether that be in their addiction and the difference between that and where they would like it to be. We use a pie chart. So my work is 50%. My family life is 20%. My exercise, whatever they.
Does stress have a place at the pie?
Hopefully not. And we want to figure out what's out of whack and try to increase others and decrease the ones that are out of whack.
We're talking with Robert Johnson. You can find him online at highlandsranchcounselor.com. We're talking about living sober. So if you know somebody who's gone through treatment or is in recovery and they just need a little help keeping themselves that way, the 3 necessary pieces of the pie, so to speak. All right. So Robert, taking care of our emotional self, having some balance in our life. So it isn't all work or all not work. I guess there's probably a lot of people who don't even have that. Eric asked if stress is part of the pie. How much does stress play into your recovery?
Well, stress is a huge trigger indicator that relapse is imminent.
Yeah.
And it causes more unwanted relapses than.
Wow. Robert,
it's just stress.
Right.
Just stress.
Talk about self-affirmations and the value of positive self-talk.
Well, you remember Saturday Night Live, Stuart Smalley. I'm good enough. I'm smart enough.
Yeah, and gosh darn it, people like me.
Absolutely.
Those types of things, whether they be on your bedroom mirror or a picture of your kitty or your family in your rearview mirror that you can constantly look at, remember why you're grateful, what you've done to get to where you're at today is very important.
I think that people underestimate how powerful our self-talk, the words we say to ourselves really are. I think a lot of times, especially if you've been a little cynical, right? You've got high stress in your life, you've got issues. And so those are hardcore. And I think that a lot of times when you start talking about removing stress and having some exercise and your self-talk, I think that people often would dismiss how powerful that can actually be in their recovery.
Yes. And it's not just our own self-talk. It's what mom and dad were telling you when you were growing up.
Sure.
There's a great book. It's called The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. There was a movie made, Nick Nolte's in it. And he plays this character named Socrates, and he teaches this young man to take the trash out. And that trash is all those negative things that people have told you throughout your life. You might be telling yourself,
right?
Take that trash out.
Take it out.
Take it
and
out.
Leave it out. Don't go back and go digging through
and
it.
Sometimes you might have to take it out more than once.
That's right. We grab it back.
Robert, I want to close our conversation with you talking about that social support, the need for taking care of our social self. Address, if you will, the need for boundaries.
Boundaries are huge, and boundaries are not real unless they have consequences to them. So you can think that you have a boundary of, I don't like them when people step on my toes. But when somebody steps on their toes and you say, this is a boundary, don't step on my toe. And when you do, I will, leave the room and not talk to you for the next 4 hours.
All right.
That's a boundary.
That's a consequence. Okay.
And a boundary, right.
So that's important. And what about finding pro-social support? And by that, I think you mean surrounding yourself with great people, right?
You
people
bet.
that are going to encourage you.
Whether that be your family or people you met in treatment, or there's a great program in Denver. It's called Phoenix Multisport, which is a It's a free club. They do rock climbing, and they have a boxing gym and yoga and
nice.
a ropes course. And it's all a sober community of
Love that.
positive people.
There's a community. If you need to talk to somebody, you need an accountability partner, you want a little help getting you through. Highlands Ranch counselor Robert Johnson. Robert, what's the phone number? Actually, I have it, 720-837-0491, 720-837-0491. Just check him out at highlandsranchcounselor.com. Robert, thanks so much for being with us, and we're going to have you on every month, Sober Living with Robert Johnson. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
And folks, thank you for tuning into this, the home of positive business talk, where we practice sober living every single day. We'll be back right after these messages. You're listening to Angel Tussey and Eric Raymer. This is the Experience Pros Radio Network.
You're listening to the Experience Pros Radio Show, America's home for positive business talk.
KD.